Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today I'm going to be sitting down with the founder of Everbowl franchise, Jeff Fenster. He's a super entrepreneur that has had multiple exits, and he's built several successful businesses in spaces where he's had zero experience. We're going to be talking about tactical strategies that you can use right now, how to leverage vertical integration to add profit centers to your business, and how relationship capital is the number one shortcut to massive success. If you have any questions, put them in the box down below. Make sure you subscribe for future episodes. If you're on Facebook, jump in the Real Closers Facebook group where we can always mastermind and connect, and we'll see you on the inside. All right, so excited to be here with Jeff Fenster, the founder of Everbowl. As you guys know, this is normally a real estate show, but we like to mix it up and bring on entrepreneurs and people in the business community that are just really lighting things on fire and making things happen. And I think we can all learn a lot from Jeff and how he's added profit centers, how he systematized things, and just the way he looks at business is a little bit different, and I can really appreciate that. And I think we can take a lot for our real estate businesses and kind of implement those types of things. But why don't we just, for those that don't know you, kind of give the quick backstory of maybe your first venture into entrepreneurship?
Sure.
Because I know Everbowl is not your first venture into entrepreneurship. So let's take it back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me. Big fan of your show. Appreciate the offer to come out here and speak to your audience and get this opportunity. So thank you. But yeah, so I went to University of Arizona and thought I was going to do real estate, actually. Got a degree in regional development and was going to be the fix or flip guy. And then I graduated at 21 and realized I didn't really want to do that for some reason. It wasn't passionate yet. And so I enlisted in the Marine Corps and also applied to law school at the same time and told the Marines, if I get into law school, I'm going to law school. And they said, okay. So I got into law school and went to law school to be a sports agent and thought that was my career. I was going to be the next Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Nice. And it was going to be fun. I love sports, and that was what I thought I was going to do. And you'll see a trend with me that I have what I now call entrepreneurial ADD, but maybe I just had ADD, career ADD. And my third year of law school, I met my fiance and we had a daughter, and I realized I didn't want to travel the world representing athletes. So even though I had a job lined up with Lee Steinberg Sports Agency and my mentor, David Meltzer, I realized, I wanted to be more of a present dad and didn't want to do that. So I graduated law school with 6 figures in law school loans and no idea what I was going to do when I grew up. And I was 24 years old and a father and engaged. And so I got a job. Like most people who need to start paying bills, I got a job at ADP, the payroll company. Okay. Selling payroll services to small businesses. I was there 6 months. First 6 months, made President's Club, #1 sales rep in the country out of 2,000 sales reps. So my head was about that big, and I thought I was the absolute shit.
You're the man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, golfing 4 days a week, barely working. I was like, this is the life.
Yeah.
And I had earned a $17,000 bonus basically for achieving some milestone. And in January, I just bought a house with my fiance, and I made 6 figures my first 6 months, paid most of it into my new house that I bought, granted in 2007, the worst timing ever. And went to my boss in January and said, okay, I earned my bonus. Can I have it? And my boss said, no, it's an annual bonus, and you have to wait to the end of the fiscal year. So you don't get it till the fiscal year ends in June. You'll get it in July. And I was like, well, wait, this is January and I'm not waiting 6 months. And I was like, I'm the #1 sales rep. I mean, don't you know who I am? Like, pay me my money. And they basically said no. And so I went home that night, very defeated, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to always be a prisoner to waiting for some future date to where I get to earn this, or I have enough seniority to get this. And I told my fiance, Brittany, I said, okay, I want to quit my job. I want to sell the house we just bought. And I want to move you and Olivia, our daughter, in with my mom and dad. And I want to start a payroll company because fuck ADP. And that was exactly what I said. And I just say, because she was my fiance and not we weren't married for 20 years. She was totally supportive. And just a joke. And she said yes. And so I went in the next day. I threatened to quit if they didn't give it to me. They called my bluff. So I quit the very next day. We sold our house, moved in with my mom and dad. And at 24, I started my own payroll company out of my mom's kitchen with a buddy called iChecks. Wow. No idea what I was doing because back then entrepreneur wasn't a word. They were business owners and employees. And I knew nothing about business ownership. There was no YouTube for me to learn from. It was really the earlier stages of the internet, but like we were selling products to payroll, and that was like I used to say, you can fax your hours into our service center. Like internet was still getting ingrained into day-to-day business, and started my first payroll company right out of my mom's kitchen with a buddy, and that was my first foray in entrepreneurship, if you will, and it was really just out of spite. And so grew it, scaled it. We ended up raising private equity capital, and our model was to actually digitize the human resource department and take everything from hire to fire and everything in between and take it off paper and onto a single database online service. So we built an HRIS platform, human resource information system platform, technology, had pretty little apps and stuff on the phone, not on the phone, but on your computer, and sold that company in 2011.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long after you started it was that?
Started it in 2008, so 3 years.
Quick run,
yeah. I mean, I realized my skill set. Like, I think everyone needs to understand who they are, and I think the problem I have with the word entrepreneur being one is that it's kind of like saying you're a doctor. Well, what kind of doctor? Because if you're not a heart surgeon and I need a heart surgeon, I don't want to go to an orthopedist.
Yeah. Or a foot doctor.
Right? Like, you need to know who you are. And so, I'm a serial entrepreneur and a startup entrepreneur. I like startups. You don't bring me into Apple and say, hey, how do we go from 2 trillion to 4 trillion? I have no idea. You bring me into a room like this and say, I have an idea and I don't know how we're going to start it. I'm the guy. Like, that's my skill set. Like, let's go. Let's create from nothing. Let's build it. But then once it gets to the point of now it's time to optimize and really focus on the systems are built, the proof of concept's there. We've already started it. We've already got traction. You bring in someone more sophisticated, maybe with a forward-facing hat or something, and take it to that next level. And so I'm more of that degenerate serial entrepreneur. I start lots of companies. I solve business problems by starting more companies, and that's part of what I do at Everbowl. And I think one of my unique approaches to entrepreneurship is a concept of vertical integration of multiple startups.
Yeah.
A lot of people use vertical integration, but they don't understand or use it the same way I do, which is I start companies to solve my problems, not I start companies because I like starting companies.
Yes.
And so if my business has a problem, take Everbowl, it was too expensive for me to build restaurants. I started a construction company to build my restaurants. It was solving a problem.
Yeah, so I want to get to that in a second because I think vertical integration, that's something I talk about a lot too in terms of like adding profit centers or finding things that you can leverage to reduce costs, become more efficient. Can totally relate on the entrepreneur thing. I think to your point, once you hit a certain size, it does become a different skill set, and it's good to know when to be able to pass that baton. So let's talk, before we get to the vertical integration, I want to talk about your transition into Everbowl.
Sure.
And specifically, I guess what I found so interesting about it is that you didn't have any experience as a restaurateur. You didn't have any experience with acai or any of the products you were selling. So I want to dig into that.
Sure. So I did have experience with acai personally.
Okay.
And superfoods. I'm a super foodie, but experience in business, it's one of my sayings, but I think experience is the most overrated prerequisite to starting a company. And I think so often people are waiting for experience to do something. And I can tell you how to swim in a book. I can show you videos of swimming, but until you go in the water and actually swim, you don't know what it's like. And
Amen.
And so I think so many people sit on the sidelines waiting for this experience. And the problem with experience is who are you getting that experience from? Right, so let's take restaurants. Let's take Everbowl. So the day I decided to start Everbowl, it was actually July of 2016. I had just walked into a Smoothie King that was closing, and I said I got the information from the landlord. And I reached out and I was like, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna create my concept here, my superfood concept, because I always wanted to do it. And I went home that night, and maybe not that day, but within a day or two, and I was with dinner with my mom and dad and my wife and my kids, and I was like, hey, my next venture, I'm gonna be starting this restaurant chain called. And at the time, it wasn't called Everbowl. I didn't have a name, but it was basically a superfood bowl store. And my dad's like, are you nuts? 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. And my mom said, you don't know how to cook. And then my wife, because she's just got a sense of humor, was like, all you do in a kitchen is eat and make a mess. And they're all right. That's all true. I don't know how to cook. I do know how to make a mess in the kitchen, and 9 out of 10 restaurants fail. So let's say I went out and got experience because I worked in a restaurant for all this time. Great. I'm getting experience in an industry where 90% of the people with the experience fail. Lucky me. I can do that on my own, right? But because I come in with fresh eyes, and my approach to entrepreneurship is fresh eyes and disruption, I come in with zero experience. I use whatever the time frame is. So today, I would use 2021 technology, 2021 thinking, and apply 2021 business acumen to the industry without any fogginess or existing status quo stuff of this is how you have to do it because this is the way it was always done. Well, that's cool, and that works until the Model T takes out the carriages, you know,
or until your Blockbuster selling videos.
Correct. Blockbuster didn't understand where the role was going. Netflix did. So for me, experience is so overrated. So for me to open a restaurant, I don't need experience. I'm going to learn that on the fly, right? And if I make mistakes, I can't use the power of the phone in my pocket to say, how do I do and fill in the blank and learn in about 20 minutes whatever I need to learn? I mean, I could probably learn how to take a rocket ship to space right now on YouTube, right? I mean, there's just so many things that are accessible to us that I don't need that. What I need is I need to focus on my core values of getting 1% better every day, have a clear, focused target that I'm going towards, work backwards from that, and decide how are we going to do this and do it with my own approach, my own style. And so, you know, that's what I did. And so while I didn't know how to cook, I do know how to make acai bowls because I've been importing them forever. It's a passion. So I chose Everbowl in this model because I had sold a digital marketing agency in 2015 and was kind of driving my wife and kids crazy. And they're like, go do something you're passionate about. And I was at a position in life where I didn't have to necessarily eat what I kill every day. So it wasn't just about making money. It was like, what do I really want to spend my time doing? You know, and what is my passion? And what you see on my shirt, this word unevolved, it's also on the back of my hat. That's my why. You know, that's the reason for Everbowl. That's the reason for everything I'm doing these days. And it's a word I created that just means to move and eat the way you were meant to live actively and eat stuff that's been around forever. And Everbowl's tagline is made from stuff that's been around forever. So Everbowl's the eating component of the unevolved lifestyle. And my goal is to help promote everyone to live an unevolved lifestyle. Move your body, eat real food, and you're going to be the best version of yourself. You're going to prevent or delay most of the conditions that are plaguing Americans: heart disease, stroke, obesity, cancer, diabetes, hypertension. All of these things, doctors are showing 80% of them are preventable or delayable based on lifestyle habits. So why are we not doing that? So I reverse engineered the excuses we make to why we eat unhealthy. And I can't realize that the excuses we make to justify going and eating something fast and fried is, A, we think it costs too much to eat healthy. B, it doesn't taste good or we don't think it does. C, or 3, it doesn't fill us up and leave us satisfied. Or 4, you just can't get it. You have a small window of time to eat. You need something fast, aka fast food, and you have a shopping center right near your office or your house or where you're driving, and that's what you pick. And so I built Everbowl to solve those 4 excuses, to make healthy eating affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible. And everything I do focuses on solving those 4 problems. How I cook the food, or how we prepare the bowls, or how you run a restaurant P&L, I don't care. We'll figure that out. We're solving those 4 things, promoting an unevolved lifestyle on a daily basis, and that's our why. So I know my why, I know what problem I'm solving, now I just build a business. And whether I'm a restaurant, a construction company, a real estate company, a payroll company, a digital marketing agency, an accounting firm, a dental practice, all businesses still have the same financial statements, right? You have a P&L, you have an income statement, a statement of cash flows. Do you bring in more money than you spend? Or are you investing in the right areas to grow that top line? What are your cost of goods? What is your labor? That's all universal.
Right. The fundamentals are the fundamentals, 100%.
Industry agnostic, right? So the fact that I don't have restaurant experience, or I started a digital marketing agency when I didn't know how to use a computer, or I started a payroll company and all I knew how to do was sell it, it doesn't matter, right? The business side I get, and I can learn the rest, and I can surround myself with great people and understand that I don't need to be the smartest person on the team. I want to be the dumbest person on the team, and I'm very good at that. So I surround myself with great people who are great at the things that I'm not good at. Too many people hire their strengths because they're comfortable. Right? I'm a great artist, so I hire great artist people. I'm a salesperson, so I look for salespeople to hire. Well, why? I'm a salesperson. I don't need another salesperson. I need an operations person. I need a contrarian to me. I need the yang to my yin, or yin to my yang. You pick, and that's going to push me to argue with you professionally in a positive way, and we're going to get the best results. And you're going to fill my weaknesses, and I'm going to fill your weaknesses, and we're going to have a dream team and no redundancies, and that's how you build successful businesses. So I personally have a success formula that I use for business, and it works for me. It might not work for everybody, but I'm a startup entrepreneur, so my model works for me to take an idea or concept or a thought, turn it into a scalable business, and then at that point, am I the best guy at that moment to keep going? If the yes, I'll stay in my role. If the answer is no, sell it or hire somebody to take it, and then let's go do something else.
And what is that success formula?
Glad you asked. It goes to my 5 core values. I've now core valued my success formula, but the first 2 are make friends and have fun.
Okay.
There's so much in those 2 phrases that not enough people understand it. Like I say that, like, what are the 2 rules at Everbowl? Make friends and have fun. And people go, okay, but what does that mean? Well, first of all, if I make friends, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to treat you disrespectfully. I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to do all those little things that I could say, show up on time, treat everybody with respect, or just say make friends. Make friends with your coworkers, make friends with your employees, make friends with the customers, make friends with your vendors. If you can do that, you're going to treat everyone with respect. You're going to honor your word. You're going to show up on time. You're not going to steal from them. They're not going to steal from you. So we can cover all that in one sentence, make friends. And then have really fun, right? Because if you're not having fun, it's clear. No one wants to be around a Debbie Downer. It's an energy, it's a flow. But if I'm coming in and I'm smiling and having a good day, it's going to rub off on you. You're going to have a good day. We're having a good day. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy what we do. We're going to perform good. And everything takes care of itself. And this is proven because if you walk down the street right now and you go up to a stranger and you mean mug them or frown at them, 90% of the time, they're going to frown back. If you smile at them, they're going to smile back. So you can create whatever experience you want with your customers and your coworkers and anybody with just a smile, right? So smiling is it's so contagious, and it sets the theme.
And it's easy and it's free.
It's easy and it's free. It's like defense. It doesn't require skill to be friendly and have fun. It's just effort and focus. So those are the first 2 foundational principles for me about my personal success formula. The next one is KAIZEN, to get 1% better every day, because I have no experience at things, I have to learn. And if you're not always learning and you're not focused on that growth and understanding what reasonable goals are, then if you set unrealistic expectations, you're not going to meet them and you're going to think it's a failure. But if you set realistic expectations, you'll achieve your results. And you don't need to have a when, you just need to have a what, right? So that a good analogy for that is someone who's trying to go from sitting on the couch to running a marathon. Never exercised before, wants to run a marathon. Great goal. If you say, I want to do it in a month, very hard.
Good luck.
Good luck, right? And you're going to probably go too far the first day, be sore, hurt yourself, and quit.
Get a cramp.
Right, and that's why January 1st is the first week of January is the busiest week in a gym. The first week of February is the least busy time in a gym, right? Because everyone has these big audacious goals. Great, but they set unrealistic expectations. Instead of saying, okay, day 1, I'm going to sit on the couch, but I'm going to put on my running shoes and my running clothes. I'm just going to watch TV today in my clothes. Day 2, I'm going to walk or run to the mailbox. Day 3, I'm going to walk or run to my next door neighbor's mailbox. And every day I'm going to go 1 more mailbox. What'll happen is you'll naturally go, you know what, I think I can go 2 today, or 5 today, or 7 today. But that micro goals, that micro goal achievements is what feels into the next one, which is win stacking. Because when you stack wins, all of a sudden you build momentum. And when you stack wins and you build momentum, you get confidence behind what you're doing and you're getting better every day, which improves every facet. And you're just looking for 1%, which everybody can get 1% at almost anything every single day. Yep. So you have consistency, which is part of the success formula. Consistency to match the effort, because we quit because we don't see results. Well, if you don't see results, because your result is I need to run a marathon versus I need to walk or run 7 mailboxes today, right? And then that's part of it. And then beyond that, it's the other 2 is be remarkable. If you're going to do something, do it all out. Or don't do it at all. Because I think that too often everyone tries to build Me Too businesses and you can't be successful being lost in the crowd. So be remarkable and you stand out. And then the final one is being change ready, which has never proved more valuable than during COVID, which is something a lot of people struggle with. I've been doing it this way forever. Yeah. I don't want to change, AKA Blockbuster. And when you're change ready, you understand that everything's going to change and you got to be able to change on a dime. And if you're willing to do that, your business becomes impenetrable to outside forces, and you change, right? We changed our business because of COVID. Blockbuster should have changed its business because of the internet. Yeah. BlackBerry should have changed its business because of the smartphone, right? BlackBerry could have been an iPhone. Yeah. It's not. I don't know what it is now, right?
Yeah.
It's just some IP somewhere.
I think they're still around. I don't even know, actually.
I know the IP is, but
yeah. Simple, doable. I want to go back to a couple things you said in a minute, but I think while we're on this, one of the things I wrote down and one of the things that I've noticed you do really well is incorporating your core values in everything you do, in your conversations, in the way your store looks, in what you're wearing. And I've struggled to be able to do that in a way that doesn't feel super corny. So I just want to get your insight on how to do that, because we have our 10 core values and our why and stuff, and I'm sure it's on a pretty little document somewhere in our pretty little document library. but it's never really gone further than that. And so I'd love to just get your advice / thoughts on connecting the dots and really bringing people into that.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts have always been, don't write core values, write who you are and write what's important. And those will be your core values. And then it's authentic, right? So for me, I don't need to do things I don't enjoy. So I'm not going to be around people that are assholes. I'm going to make friends. I'm a friendly guy. I like friends. I like talking. So make friends and have fun is natural to me. And then from there, I've just reverse engineered how to be successful, because I think success is formulaic. I don't think it's this hard to achieve 4-leaf clover. Some people are lucky and some people aren't. Luck is, everyone has the same luck. There are days that I get shit kicked and there are days that I fall into a pile of gold, just like everybody else. But what has allowed me to be successful is scrapping away and pulling back all of the fluff and all the complexities that scare people and confuse people and confuse business owners and businesses. And they're like, well, I got to do marketing. I got to do. Just slow it down. Can you get 1% better today? Yes. Okay. So that means we're going to improve. If you're improving every day and you're change ready, you might be doing something different than you think you wanted to do from day one, but you're going to get there. Because you're going to be ready to change, you're going to be remarkable, and you're getting better. Those are very easily digestible things that we can all do. So it's authentic for me because I apply those principles daily. That's who I am, right? I'm somebody who, I don't mind sucking at something. If we go pick up a new sport tomorrow, I've never played pickleball. So if I went and played pickleball tomorrow, I'll suck at it. But tomorrow I'm going to suck 1% less, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make friends with the other people doing it. And I'm going to try to be remarkable at it. And I'll be able to change if someone says, hey, you're holding the stick wrong. I'm going to change the way I do it then. I'm change ready. I'm not like, this is the way I hold the stick. No, I'm not going to, I don't need to fight the forces of success. So I embrace it. And so for me to be authentic with it, that's just who I am. That's how I apply my life. And it works for business. For me, again, everything is specific to the fact that I'm a startup entrepreneur. If I was walking into Apple today, they're going to tell me that all doesn't work, Jeff. Like, we need you to optimize this one department and focus. Well, my skills don't work for that, right? So I would say that if you have 10, maybe narrow it down to the 4 or 5 or 6 that are authentically you and just breathe those. Or if you're trying to find yours, figure out who you are, right? I'm a make friends and have fun guy. If I was a keep to myself, kind of not really socially, then it would not be make friends and have fun. It would be something else, right? I don't know what they are because that's not me. But it's just who you are. Make that your core values, and I think the rest just fits in.
And then for those of us that have teams, how do we communicate those to our employees, team members, or like for agents just to their customers in their marketing, stuff like that?
So you walk into an Everbowl, the first thing I say to anyone who applies is there's 2 rules to work here: make friends and have fun. If you can do that, I can teach you the rest. As for the get better, and as for the remarkability, and as for the change ready, that's taught by us to them, but I need to find the first 2: make friends and have fun. If you can't do those 2 things, I can't teach you the rest. You're the wrong fit for this job. It doesn't mean you're a bad human. It just means you're a bad Everbowl employee, because if I was an agent, I'm looking to work with a certain kind of human. I think also too often we take anybody and we don't realize that sometimes a bad customer is worse than no customer.
Yes.
Right? I'm sure everyone who has customers can attest to this.
Yeah.
It's hard because you think you have someone who's ready to pay you and you're like, hey, let's go. Right? I had that problem in selling payroll and digital marketing services. But the time you spend with a bad customer could be better utilized selling 2 proper customers
that are stress-free, low maintenance,
and profitable.
And in line with your core values.
So if I rub somebody wrong, don't do business with me. That's okay. I mean, if I sell franchises, we're selling franchises now, and I say this to every potential franchisee. Let's both find a reason not to move forward. And if we can't, let's move forward. Let's both scrutinize this.
I love that.
Tell me, I want you to find a reason not to go.
And then let's talk about it.
Or let's shake hands, be friends, and move on. Because I don't want to waste my time with a franchisee who's not in and doesn't understand it. And I don't want a franchisee to waste time with me because we're the wrong fit for what they're looking for in their investment portfolio or their operations portfolio or whatever. So I think it's not trying to force square pegs in round holes, which we all do. And when you stop doing that, it's amazing what kind of availability and awareness you see to what's actually out there, because you're missing so much opportunity focused on the wrong one.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's just like, clear that away. Find reasons to move on from all of this. Friendships, business associates, customers, opportunities. There's mistakes and reasons that some of them are not right. And you can avoid them if you try to just quickly find them and move on and say, hey, it's cool. You know what? We're friends. I'm not going to screw you over. I don't want you to buy a franchise because your expectations of what the Everbowl franchise is going to do is misaligned with actually what it's going to do. And I'm going to end up not being your friend by letting you do it. Yeah. So I'm going to be your friend. You don't want this franchise.
No, I love that. I love almost starting the conversation, just like you said, with let's talk about why this wouldn't work. And if we can't think of any good reasons, then let's make it work.
That's right.
Yeah. It's really good. Good stuff on core values. Great insight. So I want to circle back to Everbowl and kind of how you created it. Because you said something earlier that I really found interesting, and I think people would be a lot better applying this to their business as well. As you really were clear on the pain points of your customer and reverse engineered your whole business to address those pain points.
Yep.
So talk to me about how we can all do that.
Start with the end, right? So for me, the end was using Everbowl, it's like smoking. We all know smoking cigarettes is bad for us. Some people smoke, some people don't, but I don't think there's an argument anymore that smoking cigarettes is not healthy. I don't think there's an argument that eating healthy is not good for you. So if we all know it, why don't we do it? Well, that's my problem. That's the biggest gap between me starting a health food business and success, is bridging it to why we all know we should eat healthy every day. Why aren't we all just eating healthy? Well, let's figure that out. So that was my first issue, because if everyone ate healthy every single time, McDonald's wouldn't be the largest franchise in the world. Everbowl would be.
Yeah.
But it's not. So the question is why, and how do we solve it? And so in any business, I start with the end, right? So in my digital marketing agency, I wanted to work with massive top 100 websites. What are their needs? And why are they not picking my company that I'm just starting today, right? In payroll, it was, why are people outsourcing payroll and human resources? Oh, okay. What is the biggest pain point they're dealing with? Because if I'm not solving a problem for them, and I'm just a me too, I'm just Pepsi coming up and saying, you're with Coca-Cola, but you should use Pepsi because we taste almost the same and we're 1 cent cheaper. That's not a pain point. Mm-hmm. That's not going to, you're just, then someone else is going to come in and say, I'm new Pepsi and I charge 2 cents less.
Then you're just playing the price game.
And the price game is fine, right? Because Walmart does a really good job with it, except you have to either be at the bottom already or you're going to lose to someone who will come cheaper. And so I don't like that. I'd rather have real value as to why you want to work with me or my company or what our company does. And if you're not innovating a new product or something that didn't exist in the marketplace, then you have to solve problems. And I've never innovated something completely brand new. So I'm always solving problems. And those problems start with identifying what is the problem and why are people still having this problem? Is it because in payroll it was the internet was so new and all the existing legacy options was all antiquated and old, and you had 9 different systems trying to work together, and the industry was old school, so everything was in paper and filing cabinets. Option, let's create something digital, online, make it easy. Well, it took a little bit of a learning curve, but that was what we raced to do, and that's why we were able to sell the company, because we were building an HRIS platform and skating to where the puck was going to be, not to where the puck was yesterday. Right. And I feel like too many businesses start with, I'm going to start this restaurant chain and I'm going to go hire 9 restaurant people that have been in the industry for 40 years. Great. And they're going to help us and we're going to do things exactly the same way as Everbowl and we're going to copy Everbowl. And I see copycats to my concept all the time, especially in my cities. And I see that they're basically doing exactly what I'm doing and trying to do it at the same level. Challenge is now we're just the same, except I might be a little bit ahead of you. And if I did that and I copied Jamba Juice, I'm the same, except they're just a little bit further along. So it's really disrupting that status quo and saying, okay, if I knew what the problem was, because Jamba Juice has been around for 20 years, why are we still have a health eating crisis? Right. They're not solving the problem. They're just a solution in the market. I need to solve the problem. So to do that, it was the average cost of a Big Mac meal when I opened Everbowl was $7.94. My price was $8. People complain that it didn't taste good. I let you choose unlimited toppings and you get to be the architect of your own bowl. So you make sure you pick what you like. It's not filling. I wanted to give you a big bowl for that price. Accessibility. I need to open a lot of these. So I opened 27 stores in 3 years in my market because I wanted to put Everbowl on as many corners as I could to make it affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible. And that was my everyday decision. That was my North Star. It was, does this help us achieve solving one of these 4 problems? Yes or no? No? Okay, then it better solve the unevolved lifestyle side. That's it. It was like, if it didn't solve these 4 reasons why people don't eat healthy, it better push our unevolved lifestyle initiative. And if it doesn't do that, we're not doing it. And it's very clear. So it became a binary decision-making process on a daily basis for the team, which is, okay, we want to implement this new thing. Does it address any of those? Nope, not interested. And we could stay focused and really grow and get 1% better at achieving solving those 4 problems and promoting the unevolved lifestyle.
I love it. Yeah. I think the 2 big takeaways for me as far as like applying that to real estate is, 1, getting really clear on your customer and what they want. 2, finding their pain points, what's stopping them from moving forward, and then reverse engineer that. So if you wanted to get into the luxury space, figuring out exactly what the expectations are, figuring out what the problems are, and coming with a better solution other than I'll just do it for less money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, right. Uber is a great example of that, right? Because the taxi cab service was always there.
Right.
And Uber identified people don't want to stand on the sideline waving their hands. We have a smartphone. I want to stay in the restaurant till the car comes. I want to know exactly how much it's going to cost. I want to be able to see who my driver is. I want to feel safe. I want to feel comfortable. And I want to use technology. And Uber was like, And a gig economy is a great way to hire people. Yep. Everyone has a car. Who doesn't want a side hustle? That's what Uber figured out. Yep. And they took what Yellow Cab should have done a long time ago, right? And there's so many examples of these in every single industry that when you can do it on your own level and always look within and be change ready and accept that and say, how do we change our business today? Or how should we change our business today?
How should we change it?
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
And then the problem solving quotient, which I'll add just because why not? Which basically is, so often people have a problem and they race to solve the problem, right? Restaurants cost too much to build. I need to raise more money because they're expensive. That's true. Restaurants cost too much to build. And if you raise more money, you could build more. But you're not solving the problem. You're just putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yeah.
Solving the problem is, why do restaurants cost so much? And how can I change the cost of restaurants? Right? Mm-hmm. And that's where my vertical integration approach and my serial entrepreneurship approach steps in and says, I'm going to do that.
Which is back to looking at it differently, looking at it with fresh eyes. Because the traditional approach is always, well, I'll just raise more money.
It's the easiest answer, but it's not solving the problem. Because, watch this, you do that and you open 3 restaurants while I focus on figuring out how to make them cheaper. Okay? So you've raised money, you've opened 3, I've made them cheaper. Now I go raise money and I can build 7 for the same price that you built 3.
Right.
People want to give me money because I'm innovative and disruptive, and they're like, wait, you could build them for how cheap?
And I'm cheaper, right, exactly.
Now I can build them cheaper, which allows me to do franchising cheaper, so I can give franchisees a cheaper build out cost and I can sell more franchises. Mm-hmm. And if I can reduce the CapEx requirement for a franchisee, they're more likely to be successful because they spent less money. So therefore, they're more likely to open more. They're also going to be great references to us to sell more franchises. So us having the same problem and approaching it differently just yields 2 completely different results. Not you specifically, but you metaphorically. If you just go and raise more money, you're like every other restaurant out there. You're just a restaurant. Everbowl is an entire system for opening restaurants. And we do it by promoting an unevolved lifestyle where we also import our own superfoods to help reduce the cost. So I went to Brazil and we went to Vietnam and we went to Nicaragua and we went to the locations where importing superfoods is done from, and we cut out the middlemen and middlewomen companies, and we really focused on driving down our food costs so we could pass that savings back to our franchisees or back to our stores and then back to our customers. And that allows us to be affordable or the best we can. I mean, keep in mind, superfoods are not subsidized like a steak or a hamburger, right? So unfortunately, you can buy a hamburger for $1. You can't buy an acai bowl for $1. Thank the U.S. government for that. Nothing I can do. However, what I can do is do the best I can to reduce that cost. And so that's where, again, how do we change our business? What problems are we solving? Vertically integrating as many components as we can allows us to do it. And it works for any industry.
Yeah, so I want to get into that while we're on this subject of vertical integrations, because this is something that me and my partner Sam are really passionate about in terms of adding new income streams, adding new value adds for the customers, and not just partnering, but starting businesses. And something we talk about with agents and brokers a lot is, form these partnerships that can bring in extra revenue. If you're a relocation specialist and you're helping people move out of San Diego, or you work with military or something and you do a lot of moves, why not start a moving company? You could buy a couple moving trucks and hire a couple guys pretty cheap, and all of a sudden you've got a moving company. So Just curious how you look at vertical integrations and where you look to put those in.
I look at repeatable problems. I think it doesn't work if it's a one-off problem. So you just nailed it. Like if I was a real estate agent and I was a seller's agent, it's very simple. Part of my fee by you hiring me is we're going to do all the marketing up front, which I'm sure everyone does. We're going to get the listings and get the buzz. But then when you move out, we're going to help you with that because we have a moving company. So it's going to be included, or it's going to be so cheap that you're not going to not want to do it. We have a storage option because you're probably going to have some stuff you want to store while we're showing your house. You might have a bridge, period where you have to rent, right? So you need places to store stuff. So I would look at what are the repeatable problems versus, oh, I have white carpet. Well, okay, not every house has white carpet, so I don't need to solve that problem. So at Everbowl, it was build outs and it was food costs, right? Those are repeatable problems. I tried to do distribution, and I started a distribution company to self-distribute to my stores, and we did that for about 2 years. It just didn't scale the right way, so I lost money doing that, so we shelved it. But that's okay, right? Yeah. Because failing fast is great. I learned something that I didn't want to do, and I realized the power of outsourcing that component and not doing it. But in real estate, I can share with you, there's a lot of room for improvement in that industry. Totally. Sorry to everybody watching. 100% but I get frustrated, especially on the commercial real estate side, at how lackadaisical the industry is. And it's the same on the residential side. And I get it. I was in outside sales, like golfing 3 days a week, and the lifestyle business is part of the allure. But if anybody sitting there wants to really disrupt this, be hungry as hell, there is so much opportunity. I mean, I would go and find these centers. I do my own locations in commercial real estate, trying to find them for Everbowl. There's a number on the thing, but doesn't tell me which agent. So I call the place. What's the address? They give me to. Then they send me to a voicemail because they're not sitting in the office. What's their cell? We don't give that out. Why not? You're in sales. You could have my cell, my address, my DNA, my social security number. You want to buy or rent or lease something, and I'm the guy?
Just call me.
Anytime, 24/7. Right. Then I want to see it, and it's like, well, I'll have you schedule you next week. Why?
You're like, I'm out front right now.
Seriously, yeah. Why not use something like Matterport or one of these online things that can quickly show me the entire spec and send it to me immediately with CAD drawings so you can design your own concept inside of there? We do something cool at Everbowl. We build out our stores for franchisees. I can put on an Oculus for $299 and have you walk in your store before we even start building it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, for $300. Yeah. You're selling a $3 million or a $300,000 or a $30,000 lease or a house or whatever. Use technology, right? Like if I was leasing a La Jolla house or a mansion, you would put the Oculus on before you even walk in and just show the virtual. I would have it online with such why not? Yeah. Use technology.
And back to vertical integrations, that's a perfect thing that you could start.
And then provide a service
and now you can offer that service to all the other agents in your office, or if you're a brokerage, offer that out. For a few $100, you buy the stuff, you hire maybe one person that knows how to use it really well.
Well, because the Zillows of the world are encroaching in your guys' industry tough, right? Like they're pushing to try to sell homes on there where it's like one-click buy. And the majority of us are archaic and we're not ready for that. My 9-year-old daughter is going to be more than happy in 25 years to just buy from one click, right? Like it's just inevitable. So it's important to figure out that the industry is progressing to a more digital world, to more of a one-click electronic world. So it's finding the value, right? That's how we all need to be thinking about our business, which is, okay, just being an agent, that worked until it doesn't, right? Just doing this works until it doesn't. And so don't be the Blockbuster. Figure out what do we need to do to be the Netflix, because we can either fight the tidal wave that's coming, or we can surf it and actually be on the front of it and say, hey, look at us now. We're the company that does this, and this is why we're innovative, we're disruptive, we're pioneering change in our industry, because we recognize that you probably don't want to sit in my car and drive around to 19 houses that are on the MLS that everyone else is, right? There's got to be a better way. Yeah, put on this Oculus in my office because I went to all these listings.
We can tour 6 homes from your lazy boy.
Or tell you what, I'm going to send you this Oculus. It's going to arrive in your house. You're going to put it on in your living room. I'm going to have mine on because there's a cool app that you could be somewhere else and we can actually virtual reality into the store in different geolocations through the same set of two goggles. We can do that. So you can do that. We could walk through the house together and you can be like, you know what? I really don't like the layout of this kitchen. Perfect. A couple clicks later, now let's walk into this house. You like this layout? Yes, I do. Awesome. We took care of that in 3 hours while you were on your vacation in Hawaii. and I was in my home in San Diego, now all of a sudden it's like, dude, this agent had the coolest technology, and I want to refer you, not even because you're awesome, but because your experience was awesome, and the experiential is that next phase. That's what is going to drive people to work with people more than it's you have access to an MLS that Zillow provides me.
Right.
I mean, pretty much everything's on Zillow, right?
Yeah.
So the value, and then obviously understanding the nuance, right? And being a good negotiator and knowing how to find me a deal, which is why you guys are experts. But I'm just brainstorming here. I'm not in this
No, this
industry.
is good. I like a good freestyle like this. I think these are some good nuggets.
But I'm just saying, if it was me, like I used to joke and say my next business is commercial real estate because I'd be so frustrated. I'd be like, you can't get to me until what? And he's what? And how do I get a hold of this person? Yeah. I'm here physically. I want to know how much it is and how big it is, and nobody could give me the answers. 100%. I'm like, what?
You should be able to text, get that video.
Correct.
And get into motion.
Correct.
Right away.
How much is it? What was here before? What kind of lease terms are they looking for? And if I was going to go pitch landlords, I would just say, listen, the way everyone's doing it is wrong. We're going to sell and lease up your space because we're going to make it accessible and available to every individual who's interested real time. There's going to be a QR code on the window. Zap that, and now you're looking at a Matterport. You're looking at the ask, the term, duration, etc. All of that stuff. That's what I need. It's either right for me or it's not. Let's figure it out.
Which is crazy because everything we're talking about right now is so simple and no one's doing it, especially not in the commercial space.
Correct.
Like, we just leased this space and it was a total disaster trying to find it. Trying to get any information on stuff is a pain. To your point, you're bouncing around to 7 different people. But I love all those ideas. I love the Oculus thing. I think that, to your point about the experience and back to being remarkable, the better experience you can give to your customers, the more remarkable you are, the more referrals you'll get.
And it keeps you relevant because that's what Zillow can't do.
Exactly.
And I just use Zillow. It's like what Netflix can't do. Where Blockbuster had all the real estate, and yeah, Netflix at that time was mailing it to you. It wasn't streaming, so you got to go back to that time frame. It was, the benefit was you didn't have to wait 2 days for it to arrive in the mail. I could just drive to my local store. But what if I could also have it mailed? And Blockbuster started that, and they started late, but had they started that early, then it was, well, we also have the experience because when you walk in, tell you what, we're movie experts. We're going to provide you a movie experience. We're going to have surround sound going so you can see little clips of it. We're going to make this storefront something experiential versus like what Costco, I mean, Costco's doing a really good job. They make going to Costco experiential. They give you free food.
Yeah,
they let you samples,
stations.
right? I mean, I won't lie to you. COVID, Costco sucks. Because there's no samples.
Right.
Like my wife and me went to Costco and I was like, this store sucks.
Yeah, Costco helped me get through college just going on free sample
Correct.
day.
I used to go for lunch. I was like, I'm hungry. Is there a Costco around here? But it's experiential.
Yeah.
And that's what human beings within this digital world are looking for because otherwise convenience is digital. It's just going to be the case. Same thing with food delivery. You go to an Everbowl or you can order on Uber Eats. Well, if we don't do a good job making your experience fun and we don't make friends with you and have fun and you get that enjoyment factor and it's just a transaction, you just want an acai bowl. You don't care if it's from Everbowl or Better Than Everbowl or whatever bowl or, whoever bowl.
Yeah.
Just how quick can I get an acai bowl? But if you go in and it's like, oh, I love when I go in there because Jeff's there and he's always smiling, he knows my name, and he makes friends with me. Starbucks does a really good job creating experience. People enjoy, they're a cult. The experience of Starbucks is there, and that's why Starbucks, whose coffee, in my opinion, is nowhere near as good as a lot of other places, crushes. Because there's a experience to how you enjoy it. People are addicted to it. It's like, no, I want a Starbucks. I want to go in. I want that Starbucks experience, good or bad. That's what they've done. And I just feel like that's important in all service industries moving forward because digital is too easy.
Yeah. And to go back to Starbucks and solving problems, like they're really good at solving problems. Like their new app took away the problem of having to go to a coffee shop and wait for your coffee to get made. Like that's not really, a problem, but it's something that, if you're a daily coffee drinker and you got to go in there and you got to wait 7 to 10 minutes, now it's like, boom, I just go to the app, I order on my way over, I roll in, pick it up, and I'm out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it. One other thing I want to jump in is, and I know you're big on this, is relationship capital. Yes. I've heard you talk about this a lot. So I just want to talk about a little bit about what that is, and then I have a few other questions to kind of go a little deeper.
So relationship capital to me is the most important asset we all have. If you gave me a choice and I moved to a new city and you said, I can introduce you to 100 of the most influential people in the city and you'll be friends with them, or I can give you $1 million. Which would you rather have? I want the 100 introductions. Relationship capital is how you can systematically grow and scale your personal and professional life. I teach a course for it on LinkedIn Learning, so anyone who wants it for free can hit me up. Otherwise, you can pay LinkedIn. But if you hit me up for free, I'll give it to you for free.
How do they do that?
Hit me up on LinkedIn. Just send me this. Hey, I heard you on the podcast. Can you send me the course? Or if you're a LinkedIn premium member, you can go to the LinkedIn Learning Library. I'm a LinkedIn Learning instructor. I did a course as well for Forbes School of Entrepreneurship on it, and I have a book coming out called Relationship Bank Account. So that's my little plug. Buy my book.
Get that book.
Or just call me and I'll send it to you for free. Because see, that's how making friends is. I'll just give you the book. But basically the premise is people don't understand the power of relationships, and making friends kind of is rule number one for me. And it goes back to this, which is if you understand how important relationships are, you can be successful at anything. So if you think about it, and it sounds terrible at first, but just don't cancel me just right away. Just hear what I'm saying. It's like a bank account. Right? And if you think about always asking for a favor or asking what this person can do for me, you're making withdrawals in that relationship. So if you think about each person you know as a bank account, you want to make deposits. You want to be wealthy. You want to build up a relationship bank account. And you do that through relationship capital. So if you approach every individual you meet, whether it's the gardener at the shopping center where you park your car, to the checkout person at that store, to a friend of a friend who you meet, or a business associate or a vendor, and you say, how can I add value to this human being and what can I do for them, and lead with value, you will be making deposits that you just don't realize how much it's going to pay dividends in the future. So as you navigate through life and you say, well, what can I do to help, right? I meet you and I say, okay, well, I know you're in real estate. Well, my aunt is looking for a new house. Maybe I should make a connection. Hey, do you sell homes in this region? Awesome. Let me introduce you to my Aunt Peggy because she's looking for, hey, Peggy, you got to meet. And then I set you guys up. Cost me nothing. Mm-hmm. I put a deposit with you. I had to put a deposit with her. Great. I move on. Yeah. Doesn't matter that I don't have a need for that yet. But now, fast forward, and you're with one of your customers that you're bringing into a new home in an area, and you see an Everbowl, and you go, I'm going to take you to lunch right now. Have you ever been to this Everbowl place? No. Oh, Everbowl's great. So you bring this person who's just about to buy a house, who now will go to my store once a week, and you introduce them. The lifetime value of that introduction just starts to increase for me, right? Yeah. And I didn't make a withdrawal and ask you to do that, and you didn't make a withdrawal and ask me for the intro. So together we both made a deposit, and then all of a sudden, I heard about your store, and then we go from there. And so relationships start to do that, and so I can enter an industry with zero experience. And because I happen to have a lot of relationship capital, I can start to use that, right? I can make key withdrawals or key asks, if you will, for favors when it suits me the best. And I understand the value of it, but because I'm always leading with value and I'm always making deposits, I've built up enough reserve or enough bank account to make that ask. And so I can go to some of my celebrity friends and say, hey, I'm opening up an Everbowl in this area. Can you do a shout out? Can you come for the store opening? Oh, of course, Jeff, I'd be happy to. Yeah. Awesome. Versus every time I ask for something that I call you, or it's like, hey, what can you do for me? Well, then you have a negative balance and no one answers your calls and you don't have that. And too often that's where networking meetings fail. And that's why networking meetings are terrible, because networking meetings is not where you go to network. It's just a way for the network organizer to make money and put people together, and everyone's there with their hand out. What can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? Nothing happens.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more with everything you said right there. And my next part was, how do you transition that to a networking type setting? Because I feel like in those types of environments, and it doesn't have to be like a speed networking thing, right? Let's say you go to like a gala and everyone's like legit and you want to kind of mix and mingle. I feel like people that aren't good at it fall into one of two categories. One, they're like, what can you do for me? 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 Or they're too intimidated to even say anything to anyone, and they just kind of like hermit themselves into nothingness.
So one of the chapters in my book is be more interested than interesting, period. Go in there and ask questions. What do you do? Awesome. Can you tell me about it? Find, like I did, true or false. I walked in here. First thing I started doing was asking you about your art, because it's all over the place. I'm interested in what you do. I don't know how I'm going to use that information. I don't know if I'm going to use that information. Right. I want to learn about you. I want to understand your interest. I know you're artistic. I know you do art, right? So now all of a sudden I'm starting to build this avatar of our new relationship and saying, I understand you're into art. right? And so as I navigate the rest of my day in my world, I know that that's now a piece for you. So if I see a Benjamin Franklin piece of art somewhere and I was to take a picture and send it to you via text message, A, you know I'm thinking about you.
Right.
B, you're like, that's rad.
Yeah.
He knows that about me,
100%.
even though you won't consciously say that, subconsciously. And I'm starting to build goodwill and I'm starting to build a deposit with you. I'm interested. I didn't come in and say, I play baseball, I'm second baseman, I'm super fast.
This is what I do.
Yeah. Me. I actually want to switch the conversation. So in a networking setting, I try to speak very little. I want to be mysteriously, like people go, I don't know much about Jeff, but I know a lot about all the people I met. Because for me, that's how long-term that's going to build me wealth, both physical wealth and relationship wealth. That's going to create opportunity because people leave. It's like, you ever been on a date or with someone and the other person only talks about themselves? You leave it and you go, not such a great date. They might like it, but you didn't.
They probably loved it.
If you go in, if you have that date though, and all you do is ask about them and you keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper and get to the level of understanding who they are, they're going to love you because people love talking about themselves. And if you use that to your advantage in those settings, you can A, learn a lot, B, quantify and classify who they are and not ask the same stupid questions of who are you and what do you do for a living so I can decide how important you are in my networking scheme. And then they're going to like you. And so this is a true story. One of my biggest payroll clients I ever got was a lead or an introduction from a woman who basically worked at the checkout at Albertsons that was my local cashier for 2 years. And we just became quasi cordial through, I mean, we never hung out outside of Albertsons, but I'd be in there twice a week, once a week, and we would talk, and I got to know she had 2 kids, and she knew I had this payroll business. Well, 2 years later, she says, hey, you have a payroll business. Yes. My brother's company is dealing with a major payroll issue. Can I introduce you? Of course. 2,000 employee company. Wow. 6-figure a year contract for us. That's because I made friends
from the clerk at Albertsons.
Because everybody is somebody's mother, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle.
Yep.
Everybody. So if you want to get to me, and you solicit me on social media, which I get hit up a lot, and I ignore, or you made friends with my wife and then became best friends with my wife and asked my wife to ask me the same question you did, which one do you think is going to get the yes? My wife.
My wife's friend, yeah.
But you met my wife and you met her at yoga and you have no preconceived notion, but you learn that her husband is me and you had some need from me, whatever that is. You just found out the best way to get it, which is we trust relationships that we already have built in. That's why you want Kim Kardashian to endorse your product. That's why you want LeBron James to endorse your product. There's a level of trust. Oh, if LeBron James likes Blaze Pizza, I like Blaze Pizza. But if Jeff Fenster endorses Blaze Pizza, who the hell is he? Right? No one cares. So it's the same thing in networking, which is how you should build leads. It's how I was the #1 sales rep at ADP. I made friends. I didn't sell payroll. I made friends. And then people learned I sold payroll. And
which
then
is a huge distinction.
Huge distinction. Yeah. And that's why I'm very good in sales, is because I don't sell. I make friends. I solve problems. A lot of times, I don't even mention the fact that I sell payroll or franchises or digital marketing. What is your problem? Oh, my problem is this. Cool. Let me make an introduction. You need an accountant? I have one of my best friends owns an accounting firm. Let me introduce you. Then you do. Cool. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much. No problem. Oh, by the way, what do you do? Oh, I have a payroll company. Awesome, dude. Can I talk to you about it? If you want, sure. If not, no problem, because you're going to go to my buddy, the accountant, who I send all my leads to, and it's Matt Delson at Delson & Company. And you're going to go to him, and then he's going to ask you who you do for your payroll because he gets leads from me, and he's going to naturally say, well, I know the payroll reports that Jeff's iChecks company gives me are perfect. So if you're having any problems, you should use him. If not, no worries. Use whoever you're using. So now I have another sales rep for me who's acting in my best interest. And the more friends or champions I create by being interested in other people and helping, they go around the world helping me. I get phone calls and texts. Hey, so-and-so thought I should connect with you. I'm interested in opening a business. They said you have a badass franchise. Tell me about it. Hey, I'm looking to rebuild this. I understand you have a construction company. Tell me about it. I love coffee. I heard you have a super fuel coffee company. Tell me about it. I have a website. Back when I had digital marketing, I heard you partner with Neil. You guys have a digital marketing agency. Can you look at my business? Sure. Right? So it's just a different spin. It's just looking at the 6 or the 9 and deciding which number you want it to be. And I think networking for inexperienced people is they think that they have to talk about themselves and make me impressed. I'm not going to be impressed. Neither are you. Right? I can tell you all what I believe are my good features. You won't be impressed. You're going to leave going, okay, and move on. Right? And if I'm like, oh, please, can you send 10 people to my Everbowl today because I really want... No. I don't want to do all that. Zero.
Yeah.
We just don't do it.
And your approach of kind of like asking them, hey, what's a challenge you're got going on right now? Like, people love talking about themselves, and if you can help them first, it always, the law of reciprocity or whatever that is, it always comes around.
And even if it doesn't, what is the
then
worst?
It's all good.
Worst case scenario, right? I spend a lot of effort to get to know you and help you with a problem. And you say to me, you have an accounting issue, and I send you to my buddy, the accountant, and then you have a supplies issue, and I happen to know somebody at a paint company, and I connect you, and they give you a discount. Cool. And you never pay it back to me. Big deal, right? So what does that mean? What did I lose by helping you? Nothing. You're still a friend of mine.
Right.
You still think good of me, and I have a balance. And who knows? Maybe one day I'm like, you know what? A buddy of mine's getting married, and they love Benjamin Franklin. I'm gonna call Oliver. I'm gonna say, hey, can you paint me this awesome picture for this wedding? I'll pay you, of course. Yeah. And then you maybe say, sure, you know what, Jeff, for all that stuff you helped me with, I'm going to give you a discount. Mm-hmm. Or you don't, and you just do the painting anyway but you're busy. Yeah. And I get this rad, one-of-a-kind piece. Whatever the case is, all I'm saying is I don't predetermine or box in what I'm trying to get out of our relationship immediately. I'm willing to just trust that if I just build friendships and make friends with as many people as I can and be more interested than interesting and focus on solving their problems and leading with value, I have everything I need. It's like it's like chasing money. People who chase money never get it, right? Because when you chase a boy or a girl, or you chase an animal, or you chase money, it runs. You want to attract it, right? Same thing in sports. Like, you talk to any of the best golfers or baseball players, they don't hit the ball. They swing. The ball just happens to run into the bat or the club or the stick, right? You talk to Tiger Woods, he swings his golf club whether there's a ball there or not. The fact that the ball's there just makes it fly. But if you try to hit the ball, like most amateurs, we don't hit it like he does because we're hitting a ball. He's swinging pure and clean. Same thing in baseball. Same thing, and these metaphors can go on and on and on and on. Yeah. The key is you can chase money and never have it and always be chasing it, or you can just be good at what you do and be the best at it, and the money is just a byproduct of that.
100% agree.
Same thing in the network.
And the relationship game is the long game. Like, it's not, I'm going to do this for this person, to your point. I'm not going to do this for this person and expect something in return. I'm just going to focus on giving, adding value, and over time, that will result in winning the long game, getting more referrals, getting more discounts, getting more hookups, more connections, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and to your other point, the long game shouldn't deter you, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't have time for the long game. I got to pay rent this month, Jeff. Cool. Try it your way and try it my way and see which way pays rent first. Because it can happen immediately as well. Yeah. If I go to that same networking meeting, I promise you I will leave getting referrals. And I won't talk about Everbowl or whatever my business is. I will, because I'm going to make friends. I'm going to make sure that my action items when I leave is not to follow up and say, hey, it was so great to meet you, just to remind you I'm an agent and I do this and I do this and I do this and I do this. It's, hey, it was great to meet you. I remember you mentioned you had a serious problem finding paint for all this painting with COVID. You couldn't get it. I want to introduce you to Johnny over at this paint company. He's been a friend of mine for 8 years. He's the best at it. I'm not a great artist, so I can't really help you, but let me connect you with Johnny. Then I'd send another email. Johnny, I want to introduce you, yada, yada, yada. Yep. That's what all I would leave with. Yep. And I promise you do that 10 times a day for a month, the next month, you're going to have more business than you know what to do with.
Yeah. Amen to that. Just want to wrap with a couple different questions. What are you investing in?
Personally, I invest in companies, public and private, as well as cryptocurrency and real estate. And I'm trying to invest in real estate right now. The market's, as we were talking about, it's a little hard to find some good deals.
Yeah, it's tougher. It's tough. Everyone's asking crazy prices.
But, I know. And I'm trying to be as patient as I can, but right now I'm heavily invested in some cryptocurrency. I think that it's a very, very, very exciting time in that space. And obviously traditional equities, the stock market, I love. Some companies I love, it's Teladoc, Pinterest, Beyond Meat. I think they're all disruptive and skating to where the puck's going to be. So,
Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest. Most people don't think about Pinterest, but
That's
Pinterest,
a sleeper.
It is. It's, first of all, I'll tell you two things, and this is all you need to know. Up until about 8 months ago, they never did any advertising or spending. They weren't basically monetizing their site. They weren't taking advertising dollars. So they started to do that. So for the first time ever, Pinterest is now monetizing its business. Well, that's huge. Then number two, Facebook came out with a product to compete with Pinterest. It was called Hobby. I believe.
Okay.
HOBBI. 3 billion people in the world have Facebook on their phone or on their computer. How many do you think downloaded the Pinterest competitor? 7,000. So 0. Wow. The answer is 0, right?
Almost 0.
That is literally 0. And because there's probably 2,000 Facebook employees, so there's like nobody downloaded it because Pinterest has.
And they didn't even all download it.
No, because there's a moat around
Right.
Pinterest. It is the most unique social media platform used by everybody that has never been monetized. And if you remember what Facebook was pre-monetization to where they are now, Pinterest is very, very exciting. So I'm a big believer in, again, I like to skate to where the puck's going to be. I don't like to do things yesterday.
Yeah.
So then Bitcoin, Chainlink is my number one sleeper cryptocurrency. For those who don't understand cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is an idea and an asset class. Ethereum is the computer, and Chainlink is the internet. So computers are great. Ethereum is a platform everyone builds off of. This is going to be huge in the whole crypto world and smart contracts and DeFi and how it's all going. But in order to connect those contracts to actually other computers and make things happen, they all have to use Chainlink. So Chainlink's still cheap, still a good opportunity for you to get involved. Yeah, it's really easy. Download Coinbase and you can have some. I own it as an investor, but I'm not part of the company.
Ditto.
Yeah.
But I like it.
I think
would second that for sure. I think long term, it's a really good play.
I mean, it's a $2 billion. It's got a $12 billion market cap right now, but it could easily be a 200, 300, 400. I mean, there's still 10, 20 times in the next 3 to 5 years. I think those who buy it today are going to have serious wealth.
Digitizing everything, real life and digital life are going to become one over the next probably 5 to 10 years.
Well, there was a really cool video, and you could probably Google it. I don't remember where I saw it, but basically it showed, and this goes for anything, but the non-fungible tokens, the NFTs that are exploding right now, and how it's being done on art and sports and all this, and smart contracts, and how this all works. Unfortunately, it does take out middlemen companies, right? Middlemen and middlewomen companies. A great example is like insurance. In the insurance world, there might be a drought, and I'm a farmer and I have drought insurance, and so I file my claim and the insurance company reviews it, and they go look at actuary tables and they figure out if it really happened. That could be erased with smart contracts and crypto, right? Because immediately, based on just the weather patterns, it would trigger a payment to me based on a pro rata amount, and so those insurance companies are going to be in some trouble, right? Or they're going to pioneer these ways to do it. Same thing happens with like collectibles, and so like sports cards, which is blowing up right now in like NBA Top Shot just came out with that thing. It's crazy. But when you see what's happening real time is with Chainlink, these NFTs can now take a specific moment and based on the outcome of that moment, create and capture that moment into this NFT. And then that alone has its own intrinsic value based on situation, who did it, how much, etc. And I know this sounds very fluffy if you're not familiar with this whole industry, but the whole world's being changed by cryptocurrency and smart contracts and this whole technology. And they all use right now Ethereum as the computer to build it, and they all need Chainlink to connect it. And so Chainlink
so it's about to go down.
I mean, listen, I don't give it. I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am heavily invested in Chainlink and promote it because I believe that people can make generational wealth if they move on it now.
Yeah. Web3 is going to be crazy.
Yes, just like 5G.
Yeah.
I mean, stock market, 5G companies, huge.
Going crazy.
Yeah.
One shocker to me, and I don't know if you agree or not, but Pfizer comes out with the vaccine for COVID, and the stock doesn't even move.
Well, it's because because they can't make money on it.
I guess that's probably the big.
You got to remember this was War Act, and everyone can get the vaccine for free. Granted, Warp Speed gave them some money, but normally where Pfizer makes its money is they cure
the IP.
Yeah, they cure. They find they don't cure. They treat, right? The money's in treatments, ongoing treatments. There's no money in cures, and that's one of the problems with our healthcare system. But that's a
rant. Back to Everbowl.
That's a rant. I'm not
Eat healthy.
Yes, that's a rant. I'm not going to go down. But Pfizer, if they can make a condition like gout less painful and more tolerable, well, they get to IP that and trademark that for a certain number of years, and they make a lot of money. Yeah. And then they find a smaller improvement that makes it from flare-ups twice a year to once a year, and they sell that for the next 10 years, and they make billions and billions and billions because people with gout want that treatment.
Need it.
Yeah. There's just a vaccine that makes it so you don't get COVID. that was forced to be done because of the issues. There's just not enough money, so the stock can't really respond.
Crazy.
But I'm glad there's a vaccine, and I'm glad we're getting through COVID.
Yeah, it does seem like we're rounding the corner. So fingers crossed. We'll hope for brighter days. That's another one I like to ask all the entrepreneurs that come on here. Just favorite tools, softwares, apps that you just love for running business, scaling, maintaining, efficiency, whatever.
So Udemy.
Udemy?
It's a learning platform where you can learn pretty much anything, and you buy these little micro courses for like $10, $15. I recommend you should always be learning. I just don't understand people who stop learning things.
Yeah.
That allows you to be lucky, because you can understand like what we're talking about right now. Like I have this conversation with people who are like, I don't understand cryptocurrency. Okay. Why aren't you learning about it?
Yeah.
It's the future. I promise you 10 years from today, you are going to say, man, I really should have learned about that 10 years ago. Like the people who were like, the internet thing's a fad in 2000 and 2001. It was like, okay, be that company. Where are you today? Non-existent. So be learning. And so I use learning tools like obviously Udemy I pay for because you can learn from experts. Obviously I love YouTube because you can learn anything for free and it's tons of video content. I don't do as much as I used to, but I used to do a lot with LinkedIn Learning, and I used to use their video library, even though I'm an instructor and I will tell you to use it. I just don't use it as much personally anymore. What other apps?
I just fell in love with Monday, by the way, just another random aside, but Monday.com for project management. We got the whole marketing team on it. We're implementing it to the rest of the company. It's just been great. Like
I love Monday too.
Yeah. So Monday.com, free plug for you.
Monday.com.
Last question. This is just another one I like to ask to everyone, especially some movers and shakers. I have 2 young boys. You have 2 young children. Children.
Yeah, one's a teenager now.
Okay.
15 and 9.
15 and 9. So mine are 3 and 5. And I always like to ask, what's your advice on how to be successful in life? And what would you say to your children and any other children that are out there?
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Simple and easy.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
I am not the most talented human, but no one outworks me. And when I want to do something, and I can beat pretty much almost anyone because they're going to get tired and quit, and I'm not. And that's it. It's really it. They're going to be ahead of me. It's going to be like the race starts, they're here, and I'm here, and then I catch them because I'm not going to quit. And it's tough to compete against someone who doesn't quit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's really tough.
For sure.
And because when you're talented, you tend to feel like you can get away with less, so your work ethic's not as strong. And when you have no skills, you got to outwork them.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I tell my kids.
Outlearn them, outwork them.
It's the easiest. It requires nothing.
Simple formula.
Everyone can do those.
Yep.
Because I can't be 7'1" like Shaq and dunk a basketball. So I can't.
Yep.
Right? And I can't be Bill Gates and create the next Microsoft. Right? And I can't be Jeff Bezos and create Amazon because I don't have those brains and I don't have that body. But I can be Jeff Fenster and outwork you and learn as much as I can and try to get, like Wayne Gretzky said, I don't have to be faster than you if I skate to where the puck's going to be, which I've used a few times in this podcast. But that's what it is. It's understanding where the market's going. And by being change ready and always learning and getting better, I can do it. And I teach my kids, like, I don't care what you do as long as you give your absolute best. And by absolute best, I don't mean you tried your best for 30 minutes. I mean, when you are done, there is nothing else you could have done. And that's a tough bar that most people never actually get to. Like Kobe Bryant was one of those humans who did. Yeah. You know, it's incredible, right? Yeah. How much he maximized his potential.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And that's what I ask for my kids. It's, you know, and they do different things. My oldest, she's a lacrosse player in high school, and she's got tryouts yesterday and today. And my youngest has zero competitiveness whatsoever. Like, we put her in competitive soccer, and I was like, steal the ball from her. And she's like, well, it'll make her sad. And I was like, what? Steal the ball from her. Yeah. She's like, no, Dad, I don't want to hurt her feelings. Like, that's her ball. And I was like, okay, so competitive sports are out. What else we got? So she's a horseback rider.
Nice.
And she loves animals, and she's got a heart the size of, you know, the Grand Canyon, and empathy to beyond empathy, and it's great, you know, and she gives her all to it. And while I'm a competitive human, it's hard for me to understand. I don't care. I want her to be happy. Yeah. And so I say to her, just as long as you put your all into it and be the best you, be your best self, which is what Everbowl's about anyway, unevolved, right? Be the best version of yourself. That's it. Success comes.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Again, thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
If you guys have any questions, put them in the box down below. We always circle back and answer all your guys' questions. If you're on Facebook, make sure you jump in the Real Closers Facebook group. It's free to join. We do a ton of masterminding in there. Anything else that you want to add before we go? Go to Everbowl. Get yourself some superfood.
Yeah, go to Everbowl or just hit me up if you want any of those courses or information I mentioned. I'll give it to you for free. And I just love connecting with entrepreneurs and business owners and business-minded humans. So happy to be a resource.
Thanks again, man. Really appreciate you. Subscribe for future episodes, and we'll see you on the next one.